ओए ओए के बारे में बताइए आप.
I went into the theatre, Ratna and I, when the day it was being premiered, and as we walked in, the song began and the audience went berserk.
When we used to go to the theatre, there were not many people in the theatre, but I used to enjoy that you know, I'm the king and I'm watching his performance, and I used to feel like, अरे वाह, क्या बात है, ऐसा मन करता था कहने.
But everybody thinks I'm joking when they ask me who are my favorite actors, and I say Shammi Kapoor and Dara Singh.
Why Dara Singh? Why Dara Singh?
Dara Singh, because he made my childhood. He did a film called Hercules, Daraji, in which his ma calls him Harku, beta Harku. I think Irrfan has had a far more interesting journey than I have, a tougher one than I did. I was lucky to land up in Bombay when the serious cinema was just beginning to flower. Ankur had been a big success, and Bhuvan Shom had been a big success, and Sara Akash had been a big success. Not just critically, but they had actually run these movies. Ankur, in fact, was released on the same day as Bobby and ran for 25 weeks in Metro in the matinee. So I landed up at a very, for myself, a very fortuitous time. That actors like me were needed. Not matinee idols, not chocolate faces. And so I didn't really have to, kill myself doing parts which I wouldn't otherwise have done, and so on. And I kept getting employment because there was Shyam, there was Govind, there was Ketan, Saeed, Kundan, Vinod Chopra, etc. It's a whole lot of filmmakers. I think Irrfan had a much tougher time. And I would really be interested in hearing what he feels are the reasons. Because Irrfan was in Bombay a very long time before he got the recognition that he deserved. And so I think it would be very interesting to hear Irrfan talk about that phase in his life.
It's a strange thing that I was inspired by cinema, what Naseer Saab did. It gave me a kind of path to go ahead. I was watching other heroes as well, but when I watched few performances of Naseer Saab or quick film Dilip Kumar or some other film, suddenly gave me a direction where to go. I didn't want to come to the industry just to, show yourself. I was looking for something which can give me a direction. And his performance, gave me a direction that life is a subject. The character is a subject. That is possible to do in cinema, and you can get work in cinema by reflecting life. I was very naive, but still, it gave me a direction that, I could do this. And when I came to Mumbai, that time, that whole parallel cinema movement was dying down. It was just taking its last breath. And I became part of it. I did one of the film with Govindji. And then it was mayhem. It was all for front benchers, Akshay, Sunil Shetty's door started. And, I was waiting if I could get a part, 2-minute, 3-minute part, in any film. I was eager to do that. Just become a henchman of somebody. Because I came here to do cinema. But I was consumed by television, and television was very boring. So I used to wait, and I used to hear things like Subhash guys talking about me, "Yaar, ye ladka kaun hai serial mein?" And I used to wait, kis din uska phone aayega. And it never happened. So my only struggle, the interesting thing is, when I came to this mandi, film mandi, my only struggle was to sustain my inspiration. Because there was nothing around. In Delhi, at least, you have cinema, you have theatre, there was so many things to get inspired. And that time I realized that it's not my inner call to be an actor. It's a cultivated desire to become an actor. And that's why I had to keep my inspiration going. So the first thing I did from my first earning, I bought a VCR. And and then I started watching, to keep myself, just to engage or not to get bored by my own profession. That was my struggle, and it was a long struggle.
But was there at any time any feeling of desperation, any feeling of regret, any doubts about yourself?
Doubt was when this thought came in my mind that can I become an actor? But the way I saw your performance, it was not a doubt that whether I could become an actor or not. I knew that there is a possibility I can become an actor, but whether do I fit in? So I used to watch myself, and I used to find similarities between other actors. कि मेरा face इससे मिलता है क्या? हाँ, अरे हाँ मिठुन से मेरा मिलता है, तो मैं बन जाऊँगा actor. So those kind of things, those were the doubts. But I also used to imitate Mrigya's dialogue, because Mrigya mein he was not, Mithun Chakraborty was not chocolatey boy, he was playing a Naxalite. So I taped his dialogues and I used to, repeat it. ए जो बैठा है तुम्हारा बाबू, उसको ऐसा कुछ बोलता था. वो जो बैठा है तुम्हारा बाबू, तुम्हें पता है, ऐसा करके मैं उसको रिपीट करता था खूब. And I used to try and make my hair straight and look like him.
मिठुन की आवाज भी निकल सकते हो?
हाँ निकालो सर. वो जो बैठा है तुम्हारा राजा बाबू, उससे पूछ क्यों मारा है?
Sorry, मिठुन. No, but what I'm really interested to know is कि जब ये दौर चल रहा था कि you were getting parts like the sidekick and so on, कभी ये ख्याल आया कि ये मैं क्या कर बैठा, कहीं फेलियर तो नहीं है मेरे नसीब में? Did these thoughts ever occur to you?
I think मैं कफन बांध के आया था. मेरे पास और there was no other way to survive. People suggested me when I told them, my well-wishers, when I disclosed my inner plans that I want to go to drama school, they said, okay, you go to drama school, first do your MA, take a job as a teacher or something, and then you pursue your. I said, no way. मेरे अंदर, I was too driven to learn the craft. If NSD wasn't there, if you wouldn't have been there, I don't think I would have come here. So NSD was something, which I wanted to go, and I was not eligible to go because I didn't do too many plays. So, I just, filled, stupid
Where
things.
were you before NSD?
I was in Jaipur, Rajasthan.
College? Maharaja College?
Rajasthan College, which I never went there. So we were always loitering around university and this.
And you were doing plays and all in college?
I did a play called Udhwas Dharamshala first. Play, a guy from Ravi Chaturvedi from drama school came, and he was doing theatre in a way that he used to choose a location. There is swimming pool ke paas, there's a tree, and this location suits me, let's do a play here. Then he used to make an auditorium there, open air. That was my first experience of sincere play. Before that, I was doing filmy plays. Filmy plays like, किसी ने एक play लिखा, जलते बदन. And उसके अंदर आप रोल कर रहे हैं, शॉल पड़ा हुआ है, राजेश खन्ना का गाना चल रहा है, and I trying to drink. और उसमें एक सीन था जहाँ के ऐसे शराब पीते एक पॉइंट पे जब वो गाना कट होगा तो आपको ट्रांजिस्टर के ऊपर ग्लास फेंक के मारना है और गाना बंद हो जाएगा, देन स्टोरी स्टार्ट होगी. तो उधर से भूल गए, अब गाना चले जा रहा है, वो डायरेक्टर बोला मार दे. तो ग्लास लेके मारा, एंड द ट्रांजिस्टर वाज नॉट रियल, इट वाज जस्ट अ शेल, इट्स कवर. तो ग्लास पास हो गया उसमें से. ग्लास पास हो गया और गाना बंद नहीं हुआ. गाना चलता रहा. So those kind of plays I started. Then I did a serious play like Udhwas Dharamshala. The first, I got a role of that kid, Kulkarni's son.
Acha.
Professor's son.
Not the main...
No. That was too young. So my only concern at that time was, I used to think, कि यार नसीर साहब ये play देखेंगे तो क्या बोलेंगे वो? मेरा performance देखेंगे तो. Only thought which I used to carry, नसीर साहब ये मेरी performance देखें तो कैसा लगेगा उनको? I used to think like that. So Frustration point was later when I was just waiting and getting bored with acting. I was bored with acting because you are repeating in television, you are repeating the same conflict again and again. And if you want to experiment, if you want to do some changes, or if you want to take time, if you want to behave in television, they don't allow because it takes time, or time is money for them. They say, line bolo, jaldi line bolo, line bolo, line bolo, khatam karo.
So how did you keep yourself going through that phase? Because it must have been really tough. How did you manage to not turn bitter and become one of those, drunken complainers who cursed the world? Because you had a very long phase of, struggle. What kept you going?
Only thing that, I was not satisfied with my own performance. And I kept working on it. And when I came to films from drama school, I never liked myself. I never thought that, I'm there. I'm not experiencing the moment. Nothing is happening to me. I am manipulating things. So that quest kept me going. And when I got bored of acting, then things started happening. When I got bored completely, that I'm bored with the dialogue, I'm bored with the situation, then suddenly some ease came in my behavior on the screen. And then I started feeling glimpse that this is it. And then little bit I also fortunately I got chance at that time, a good chance in cinema. So it's
Maqbool
serious.
around, that was the time of
Hasil.
Maqbool.
I got Hasil.
Hasil was after Maqbool, wasn't it?
Before.
Before?
And then because of Hasil, I got Maqbool. So it's a very interesting thing that the boredom gave me the glimpse, or the ease which you require for an actor.
Yeah, when you felt you had nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose. Yeah, exactly. Otherwise, you always have a map, a design. When you are performing a scene, you have a design in your head that I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do that. When I started losing that, I started creating design spontaneously. And that's where I started enjoying acting. And that's why, आपको जज़ीरे की performance अच्छी लगती है, मुझे कभी नहीं लगती वो. जज़ीरे का, I just want to, tell you, when I came to Bombay, I did a movie based on Ibsen's play, Little All, me and Ratna Patak Shah. And एक दिन नसीर साहब आए थे set पे. And अरे. And I used to plan my performance. And Naseer Sahab, really, he liked that performance. And I never enjoyed that because there was too much of planning in that.
Actors have their own assessment, way of assessing their own work, I suppose. But there's really something else that I'd like to share about Irrfan. The first time I worked with him, we worked together in a movie called Private Detective. We didn't have any scenes together. But the first time we actually worked together in a movie, and so far the only time, was in Maqbool, where there was a sequence where Macbeth, Maqbool is based on Macbeth, for those of you who didn't know. When Banquo's ghost appears to Macbeth, which in the play is in a banquet, but it had been changed in the movie to a janaza, and his body is brought in, and Maqbool has killed the guy, and is lying there, and as he goes near the body, Banquo opens his eyes. So Irrfan was enacting this scene, I was standing next to him, and when this moment happened, he sort of fell over backwards, and I really thought that he had actually fallen over. So I went to help him, and he said, yeah, acting kar raha hu main, That was my first experience of Irrfan, though I had seen and loved his work in other films.
I think when we do something, there's a whole generation which get inspired by. Naseer Sahab, maybe he's not aware of it, but this whole generation he inspired, and we found our way through his performance.
Well, I'll accept that compliment.
We used to watch his film. I used to wait ki kab aayegi film, and we used to go to the theater. There were not many people in the theater, but I used to enjoy that I'm the king, and I'm watching his performance, and I used to feel like, arey wah, क्या बात है, ऐसा मन करता था कहने का, अरे वाह, you know. Bazaar, I still remember Bazaar. He's critical of Bazaar. I've heard in some interviews. I want to know why he's critical, but
I don't know.
I went to Bazaar.
Yeah. Well, I do a reva when I see Irrfan Khan now.
So Bazaar मैं देखने गया and we were not allowed to watch cinema. So मुझे बहुत मेहनत करनी पड़ती थी घर पे explain करने के लिए where I was. कभी-कभी चोट भी लगा के जाना पड़ता, अरे मैं गिर गया था, मैं ये हो गया था, you know. And सबका ध्यान बढ़ जाता था, अरे क्या हो गया, लग गई, हाँ अभी गिर गया पीछे.
And you have that in common with Naseer sir because he's written about this as well. He used to fake cricket matches.
Yeah, to go and watch Dara Singh movies.
Dara Singh movies in full cricket gear, all padded up.
Yeah, except the pads and gloves, but in whites, full whites, including pullovers and keds. And we'd cycle off to go imaginary cricket matches. And no one gave us a second look, you know. Because my dad was he was an Anglophile. He would allow us to see the English movies on Sunday morning, but not Hindi movies. The only Hindi movies we were allowed to see were the Dilip Kumar movies. I think my dad secretly admired Dilip Kumar, and you know, I have a similar kind of ambivalent relationship with Dilip Kumar Saab as I had with my dad. Yeah. It's a very complicated one. I can't explain.
But what are the performances you enjoyed of Dilip Saab?
I'll tell you. The one which really knocked me over was Ganga Jamna. Before that, I'd seen him in Kohinoor, Azad. No, Kohinoor came later. Azad and Udan Khatola, which I saw in Nainital when I was about 6 or 7 years old. And at that time, I didn't realize this is a great actor. But for some reason, we were only allowed to see his movies. Insaniyat, in which the monkey upstaged everybody. But it was only later, I think, when I saw Ganga Jamna. I think I was in class 8 or class 9 when I saw Ganga Jamna. I was totally floored by his acting. I thought he was absolutely astoundingly good. And then, of course, I got hold of his old movies when they came in matinee shows, films like Daag and Devdas and Andaz. Absolutely magnificent. I thought he was quite superlative when he was directed by a capable director. And I would say that phase lasted up to Ganga Jamna. I consider Mughal-e-Azam his best performance, though I saw Mughal-e-Azam later. At that time, when I was in school, Mughal-e-Azam bored me because they were sitting there for hours stroking each other's faces with feathers, you know. Come on, let's have some hugging and kissing around here, you know. But I saw Mughal-e-Azam later, and I consider it one of the finest Hindi movies ever made. And I think his performance in it is his best. He evidently doesn't agree because in one of the few conversations I had with him, and I told him that, he just stared silently at me. Yeah.
But he's not known for silence. He talks a lot.
He's known for his pauses. Maybe he was pausing.
But that pause went on and on.
The pause went on forever, you know. Have you ever had the pleasure of meeting him?
I want to meet him now.
No, it's not possible now.
Possible नहीं है. लेकिन एक आध बार किसी उस पे आए थे, you know, he came on one of my Mahurat, and he said, अरे, the way he kept his hand on my, you know, sir, उसमें affection बहुत था, and I still have that, you know, his touch. I still have that memory of his touch. So इसने जिस तरह से पूरे मुंह पे मेरे हाथ फेरा था, I still, you know, there was so much of affection in that.
It's unreal when you meet these people in real life. You know, when I met him, or when I met Dev Saab, or when I met Shammi Kapoor, or when I met Dara Singh, who were people who I'd grown up watching, you know. As a small child, say, oh wow, Dara Singh, man. You know, Shammi Kapoor, look at the way he moves. Or look at the way Dilip Kumar cries, or look at Devanand's style. And then one day you're in the same space with these people. It really is quite unreal. I had the pleasure of working with Dev Saab in 3 movies. I don't think I would have done any of those 3 if they were not Dev Saab's movies. But I could not resist his charm, and I always loved his films. I think Guide is probably the greatest Hindi film ever made.
But guide is Vijay Anand more than...
Directed by Vijay Anand, but yeah.
It was his vision.
But Dev Sahab's performance in it, I think, is quite wonderful. And his old black and white films were quite fantastic. Taxi Driver and Tere Ghar Ke Samne and, you know, all those lovely No Do Gyara and so on. And then to meet Shammi Kapoor was another great high for me. And people...
Did you ever try to dance like Shammi Kapoor?
Yes, I tried. I tried very hard, and there is evidence of it. In a film called Sitam, if any of you cares to get hold of a DVD of a film called Sitam, starring Smita, you have? Yeah, there you go. So I do 5 songs of Shammi in that. And I went to meet him before I shot for this thing to ask him, what should I do? How did you do it? And he says, I never bothered about these dance directors, they're all idiots. I did what I pleased. But he said the important thing was I loved music and I would listen to these songs all the time.
Right, right.
All the time, whether it was Tareef Karoon ya, you know, Dil Dekh Dekho or Isharon, whichever song it was, he said, I listened to it and listened to it and listened to it and listened to it, and I would just find myself moving to it. I found this very instructive because I do the same thing when I do a play, that I just read it and 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 read it until I find my body responding to what I'm speaking. Yeah. That's what old Shammi did. And if you see his songs, you realize that what he did is what every choreographer in Bombay makes every male actor do even today. Shammi Kapoor gave the form of song picturization to Hindi cinema. What a male is supposed to do. An untrained dancer, but he had such an inbuilt sense of rhythm, such an inbuilt, amazingly flexible and graceful body that he could pull off the most absurd things. So that's what he said to me. He said, you just apply yourself the way you applied yourself in a film like Par or Manthan. He'd seen them all and I was very flattered. Bloody hell, Shammi Kapoor has seen my movies, you know. It was a big thrill. But of course I could not come within 1 million miles of what he did. It's not easy to do what Shammi Kapoor did. And that's why I admire him so much. Everybody thinks I'm joking when they ask me who are my favorite actors. And I say Shammi Kapoor and Dara Singh.
Why Dara Singh? Why Dara Singh?
Dara Singh, because he made my childhood. Yeah. He was somebody to aspire to be. Shammi, you see, I think that the acting which you really like at any stage of your life is the kind of thing you feel you could not do. That's what I believe. At least that's the kind of acting I always liked. When I saw Gene Kelly dancing, I felt, hell, I can never do this. When I saw Dara Singh wrestling, and you watch his movies, there are these continuous shots which go on for at least 2 or 3 minutes. And he's doing the most amazing acrobatic stuff in it. All this WWF you see on TV is all, has its birth in Dara Singh and King Kong. It's a fact. King Kong was the man who devised all this stuff. And I used to feel, I can never do this. When I saw Shammi doing a song, I felt, I can never do this. When I saw an emotional scene being enacted by some great actors, I felt, well, I can do that. When I saw Spencer Tracy playing the old man in the sea, I felt, I can do that. But when I saw, you know, Gene Kelly dancing, so I think that's why my admiration for both Dara and Shammi, because I felt that this is something I could never do.
It's like you are fascinated by something which is you're out of reach, and you want to seek.
Yeah.
You want to reach there,
Absolutely, which is not within my reach capability. Which is why everybody considers Chaplin to be the greatest actor, because the stuff he did, I mean, you dislocate your spine if you try doing that stuff. The things that Chaplin did.
I still remember one of the Dara Singh's movie. I only remember the part I remember is that there was a message which was sent on this telegram, and he wanted to stop that message, and he was chasing that electric wire. through which the message is going, and he
gets there before the
gets
message.
there before the message reaches there.
Yeah, and the fact is that Dara Singh was around at a time when the Hindi film industry was going through a very bad phase. Dilip Kumar, Devanand, Raj Kapoor had aged. The top echelon was occupied by actors like Sunil Dutt, Dharmendra, Rajendra Kumar, who were hardly in the same league as these three. Then there was Joy Mukherjee and Biswajit, these types. And Dara Singh's movies always ran. He was the only guy in the early 60s whose movies always ran. Whether they were stolen from Hercules or Morgan the Pirate or, Thief of Baghdad, he did a film called Hercules, Daraji, in which his ma calls him Harku, Beta Harku. Yeah, he did a film called Samson, which had nothing whatsoever to do with the Bible. He's not blinded or anything. But I think Samson got divided into two movies. One was called Samson, in which he only wrestled, and the other one was called Aya Tufan, where he's blind. And my performance in Sparsh is a tribute to Dara Singh's performance in Aya Tufan. Absolutely. Because I learned how a blind man acts, when I saw Daraji do that blind man. And then I met him, finally. We were going to shoot for this film called Karma, and we were on the same plane together. So I went up to him and I shook his hand and I said, "Sir, I'm so happy to meet you. You can't believe how much I love you and how much of your work I've seen." So he said, "Arey nahi, aap to bahut serious actor hain." So maine kaha, "Nahi, maine..." And I reeled off a list of about 25 movies of his that I had actually seen, including a thing called Trip to Moon. Not Trip to the Moon, Trip to Moon. Chand par chadhai. And he said, "पर वो आपने कैसे देख ली? वो तो रिलीज ही नहीं हुई थी." मैंने कहा, "सर, मैंने 3 रुपए का टिकट देकर रियल्टो सिनेमा में देखी है मसूरी में." But he told me, "But that film was never released." And after working in movies and large number of Z-grade movies, I realized what that story probably was, because that film was probably abandoned somewhere along the way when Dara Singh's phase petered out. And so one day they just tacked together a whole lot of wrestling bouts and Helen Auntie's dances and made the movie and released it, and idiots like me went to see it.
Yeah, I still remember a scene in Mandi, Shyam Benegal's Mandi, where there's a scene, Shabana Azmi hai and कोई मंत्री आया है, and she's very conscious कि सब ठीक है ना, कोई she's conscious about the decorum, she's conscious about कि सब कोई बदतमीजी ना हो जाए किसी से. And नसीर साहब उन सब लोगों के बीच में खड़े हुए हैं ऐसे, and कैमरा पीछे है, and he started doing that. So that was maybe not in the scene, not in the script, but he was reacting to the situation.
How much, when you were a kid, before you went to drama school and all, did you see yourself in popular Hindi cinema as a hero? In your imagination?
The most I could go was Danny.
Sure, Danny was one of my inspirations, because I thought if this is
किसकी जगह है
तो मैं भी आ सकता हूँ.
और जब आपको देखा तो हमारी ज्योति जल गई एकदम. हमने कहा अब तो पॉसिबल है, अब तो पहुंच ही जाएंगे. And it was not like you were trying to project your image. You were trying to reflect something which we were not aware. कि okay, you can see, मुझे लग रहा था कि you are showing a reality. मैंने कहा अगर यही possibility है, अगर इसी से you are getting work, मैं तो फिर reality के घुस जाऊंगा अंदर और मैं तो मतलब दांत उड़वा लूंगा और ये कर दूंगा और वो कर दूंगा, So I thought, there is a way I could possibly, I could do it.
What is this business about becoming the character? What do you feel about that?
You can never become a character. You have to reflect your own things. You have to somewhere personalize it and find things in yourself, but there are characters whose traits are not there in you.
Yeah.
So you have to, do something about it and find a way to personalize it. That's it. I was doing a play in Jaipur, Badal Sarkar ka Pagla Ghoda, and I said, यार मुझे कहीं से कुछ गांजा मिल सकता है क्या? तो मेरा ब्रदर कजिन था, उसने ला के दे दिया, एंड मैंने पी लिया, एंड उसके बाद मैं रिहर्सल में गया, मुझे लगा आज कुछ होगा, एंड यूनिवर्सिटी में गए हम लोग, प्ले करने वाले थे, डायरेक्टर आए, डायरेक्टर ने कहा जाओ लेके आओ, सेट लेके आओ. सो देन वी यूज्ड टू गो क्लासरूम एंड सेट लगा रहे हैं. जब कुर्सी उठाने लगा तब मुझे कुछ होने लगा, कुछ हुआ थोड़ा सा, एंड देन रिहर्सल शुरू हुई. तब तक उसने कोई लाइन बोली और मैं कुछ बोल रहा हूँ, बोलते बोलते मैं ऐसे रह गया, एंड आई वॉज नॉट मूविंग, आई वॉज जस्ट लाइक दैट. और जो सामने वाला था उसको बहुत इंटेंसली शराब पिए कुछ बोलना था, करके कुछ बोल रहा है, और मैं यूं बस नथिंग. सब एक दूसरे को देख रहे कि ये क्या हुआ. अब मेरे अंदर चल रहा है कि ये क्या हो गया, मुझे लाइन बोलना है, मुझसे लाइन नहीं निकल रही, ये क्या हो गया यार, ये कैसे होगा, इन सबको पता चल जाएगा. एंड देन आई गॉट पैनिक, बट स्टिल आई कुडंट मूव. एंड देन मैंने कुछ बहाना बनाने की कोशिश की, बट व्हेन वो उतरने लगा तो उन्होंने कुछ खिलाया मुझको, दाल वाल का कुछ पानी पिलाया, और ये क्या हो गया. मैंने कहा नहीं, मुझे गन्ने का रस पिलाया था किसी ने, उसमें कुछ डाल दिया शायद. स्टिल दे डिडंट नो. तो जब उसको 1-2 घंटे बाद कुछ कम हुआ असर, एंड फिर उन्होंने रिहर्सल करी, तो उस रिहर्सल में बहुत मजा आया. But so the thing is, you have to find your ways. Especially when it's a cultivated thing. It's not your inner calling. My acting is not my inner calling. Maybe in next life I won't choose to become an actor. Rather be a musician or which have a direct connection with.
No, how can you say it's not your inner calling? I don't believe that. What else was there you wanted to be?
Initially, you just wanted to be you just wanted to do some business or some job where you can find
enough to eat.
Enough to eat.
No, but when did the acting bug bite you?
When I did a training in some technical course, and when I went onto the field in Jaipur, in Bombay, came to Bombay to do this training of air conditioning, and when I started going to the field, like to houses to repair air condition, and then I thought it's so boring. Then I realized I cannot earn money just for the sake of earning money. Money has to be byproduct. I have to find something where I'm fascinated by what I'm doing.
Do you remember whose house you went to fix an air conditioner?
Rajesh Khanna.
Well.
This Carter Road, and I still remember the way that Bhai opened the door. Kaun? AC wala? Aye. And and then I went to Jaipur, and I thought कि अब air conditioning सीख जाऊँगा, then मैं बाहर जाऊँगा, then I'll earn money and things like that. बाहर जाके जैसे सबको पैसा ही मिलता है, जो भी बाहर चला जाता है उसको पैसा ही मिलता है, ऐसा मुझे लगता था कि बाहर चला जाऊँगा पैसा कमाऊँगा. Then I went to Jaipur, and then I wanted to do practical. तो मैंने कहा मैं मुझे किसी जहाँ के practical करना पड़ेगा, सीखना पड़ेगा. तो my father introduced me to somebody. उसने पंखे की दुकान में बिठा दिया मुझे. पंखा ठीक करो. So then it's I thought it got clear that I cannot earn money just for the sake of earning money. And coincidentally, at that time, these films came. No, Bhumika and the other films which came, and I still remember a shot. Umrao Jan came, and there was a scene in which Rekha, they have gone to picnic or something, and Rekha वहाँ है, and आप उस पे कुछ लाइन मारने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, और वो कुछ बोलती है अरे क्या कर रहे हो, तो नसीर साहब बोलते हैं कि अब वक्त है तो चलो यही कर लेते हैं. तो मैंने इस तरह का लाइन मारना कभी देखा नहीं था मैंने सिनेमा में, कि अब वक्त है तो चलो कुछ तो करें, तो लाइन मार लेते हैं. तो उस तरह का एटीट्यूड मैंने कभी देखा नहीं था. या आई स्टिल रिमेंबर अ सीन इन मंडी, शाम बेनेगल्स मंडी, where the scene शबाना आजमी हैं, एंड कोई मंत्री आया है, एंड शी इज़ वेरी कॉन्शियस कि सब मतलब ठीक है ना, कोई वो शी इज़ कॉन्शियस अबाउट the decorum, you know, she is conscious about कि सब की कोई बदतमीजी ना हो जाए किसी से. And नसीर साहब उन सब लोगों के बीच में खड़े हुए हैं ऐसे, and कैमरा पीछे है, and he started doing that, you know. So that was maybe not in the scene, not in the script, but he was reacting to the situation. He was trying to create a kind of, you know, heighten the situation, the conflict of the situation. So those things, you know, just gave me a way of thinking. Yeah, there's something extra in the cinema. Or
What did your parents feel about it?
Oh, my father. See how life tests you. The year when I thought that I'll go to drama school, my father died, and I was the eldest. So the life was trying to test you. Okay, beta jana hai, to now decide. My father, you know, he had no problem with it. I never disclosed to him that I want to go do drama. My mother had a problem, so I told her that, you know, I'll come back and I'll become. Please, आप ये मत समझो मैं नाच गाना करूँगा, मैं कुछ बड़ा काम करूँगा वहाँ जाके. अब उन्होंने क्या बड़ा काम करेगा? मैंने कहा अच्छा मैं यहाँ के प्रोफेसर बन जाऊँगा ड्रामा स्कूल में, you know, जयपुर में. So he got convinced. Then she came to drama school. Then she saw कि यार it's a बाकायदा कॉलेज है, लोग पढ़ते हैं. तो she got little settled, but still she hates it. अभी भी मैं जाता हूँ तो अभी बोलती हैं कि कुछ और काम क्यों निकल लेता. मैं पूछता हूँ क्या काम करूँ? कुछ भी कर ले, पूरी दुनिया कर रही है. यहाँ आजा बस भाइयों के साथ रहे. वहाँ क्या कर रहा है? एक दिन मीरा नायर को डांटने चली गई थी वो, नेम सेक देख के. मैं ले गया उनको प्रीमियर में. एवरीबडी वाज देयर, यू नो, सारा इंडस्ट्री आया हुआ है, एंड शी वाज देयर. पूरा फिल्म देखी. मुझे लगा कि आप इनको बहुत मजा आएगा, यू नो, इनको अच्छा लगेगा. एंड बाहर निकली. मैंने क्या लगा? उनका मुंह थोड़ा सा ना ऐसा कुछ ऐसा हुआ था. मैंने कैसी लगी फिल्म, कैसी लगी आपको? तेरी डायरेक्टर का है. मैंने वो उधर होंगी वहाँ. वो मिला मुझे उससे. मैंने तुम क्या कहना है? अरे उस कम वक्त वो मेरे ही बच्चा मिला था मारने के लिए. So she is, you know, so we are coming from that kind of background. So
Yeah. My mother hated mirch masala because she said, "Tauba, tauba, tauba. ऐसे रोल मत किया करो." तो मैंने कहा अम्मी एक्टिंग है वो. नहीं, सुनैना जैसी फिल्में करो. Thank you very much. I will not trust your judgment again. सुनैना जैसे पाकीज़ा रोल किया करो, ऐसे वाहियात रोल मत किया करो.
I took my mother to watch Sholay, and my father was a hunter, so you know वो बंदूकें दिखती रहती थी. शोले पूरी फिल्म खत्म हुई और बोल रही है कि कहाँ लेके आए तुम मुझको, जिंदगी भर बंदूकें देखती आऊँ, यहाँ भी बंदूकें चल रही हैं. ओए के बारे में बताइए आप.
I went into the theatre, Ratna and I, when the day it was being premiered, and we walked in just at the moment where the song was beginning, and as we walked in, the song began and the audience went berserk. And it was a very strange feeling. I could never quite get my head around it. I think it was a freak happening. मेरी माँ की दुआएं थी शायद.
ओए के बारे में बताइए आप. What that popularity, what it did to you? How much did you enjoy that popularity? Oe.
It's very strange. The fact is that all of us become actors because we want to be known and we want to be recognized and we want to be liked. But then when it starts to happen, it's kind of uncomfortable. Oe was a strange thing. It pursues me till today. I never dreamt that film would succeed. In fact, I've never seen it completely. I went into the theatre, Ratna and I, when the day it was being premiered, and we walked in just at the moment where the song was beginning, and as we walked in, the song began and the audience went berserk. And it was a very strange feeling. I could never quite get my head around it. I think it was a freak happening. मेरी माँ की दुआएं थी शायद जो वो फिल्म इतनी कामयाब हुई. All I know is it extended my career by 10 years. Then 10 years later there was Oh La La, which extended my career by another 10 years. So in another 10 years, there'll be yet another one which will extend my career till I'm 90 years old.
There's a strange feeling about this stardom thing. I think, I don't know, maybe Naseer Sahib had the same thing. He must be able to tell us. You're not interested in projecting your own personality. That bores you. That gives you nothing to look forward to. Like when I came to industry, people used to advise me when I show them my photo session or something, you know, or my photographs from different series. They say, यार तुम हर उसमें अलग-अलग दिख रहे हो. ऐसे थोड़ी होता. एक इमेज बनाते हैं, उसको बिल्डअप करते हैं. अभी दिखाओगे डायरेक्टर कंफ्यूज हो जाएगा कि तुम ये हो कि ये हो कि ये हो कि ये हो, कौन से हो तुम? So that is very boring when you build up an image and you keep pumping it, and what the relationship between that image and the audience is that I am here and you are there, and I am looking at you like, you know, you are aspirational and you are like, you know, beyond us. That is very boring for me. There is a strange dichotomy that you are in a profession where you attract attention, but I don't like it when it comes to me. That's why I want the attention of the audience to go to the character, what he's doing. You know, what if I'm doing Pansing, I want them to, their attention to be directed to that complaint, what that story is complaining. An emotional complaint which he's trying to tell the audience that, you know, we don't have respect for talent. So I want them to direct their attention there, not at me. Okay, how I did it and, you know, oh, Irrfan Khan aa gaya, Irrfan Khan aa gaya. That bores me. So I think that's a similar thing must have happened in that phase, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a paradox that I mean, as I said, we become actors. I think a lot of us become actors because we are insecure and we crave approval. But when it starts to come our way, everything we dreamt of, being asked for autographs, being photographed, people telling you that you liked your work, etc., when it actually begins to happen, it's not as enjoyable as one anticipated it to be, somehow. I suppose that is the contradiction actors have to live with. And it doesn't necessarily have to do with your privacy being invaded or anything. I think we can all prevent that from happening if we really treasure our privacy. The thing is, I believe a lot of actors enjoy being recognized. A lot of actors enjoy being, you know, the center of attention wherever they go. And so people assume that is true of every actor. I know many who will turn and smile at any guy who points a mobile camera at them, you know. And so people don't understand if I'm eating a meal with my family, he wants to take a picture, I tell him to get lost. Or if I'm picking up my suitcase from the conveyor belt and he wants to take a photograph, I mean, it's absurd. But they just imagine that they have a right to do that.
Even if you are having a heart attack on the street,
yeah, they will want to take a mobile.
यार hospital जाना है, मेरा लग रहा है कि heart attack हो रहा है. सर एक मिनट रुक जाओ, एक मिनट आप
just one pose.
But the thing which I enjoy about being an actor and being, you know, a popular person, the stories you tell and the way it hits them, the way that story, your experience becomes their part. You do a story, you are done with it, you have lived it, whatever you have done with it, and then your experience becomes their experience, and then the way they relish it, the way they have a connection or a relationship with that story, that is what something very special about being an actor, for me. I think when we do something, there's a whole generation which get inspired by. Naseer Sahib maybe is not aware of it, but this whole generation he inspired, and we found our way through his performance.
Well, I'll accept that compliment.